A long time ago, in the village of Ako, there lived a bold and beautiful woman called Ene. Unlike every other young lady who desired to be married to a young man, she had no interest in such things. To her, relationships were business. She traded her body for wealth, living on her own terms. Many married women in the village shamed her severely, but she would respond by saying, "It's not my fault your husbands prefer my hips to yours." When the younger women teased her about being unmarried, Inna would laugh in their faces and say, "You and your starving husbands can't even afford 3 square meals." The men of Ako were captivated by her. She had mastered the art of seduction, and once a man had her, he always came back for more. Rumors whispered that even the king had fallen under her spell. Inna was unstoppable, attractive, rich, and influential, a true force to be reckoned with. One evening, while strolling through the village, Enna overheard an exciting piece of gossip. A rich chief named Unu was coming to do business in Ako. Chief Unu was no ordinary man. He was the biggest palm nut exporter in the East. To Enna, this was a jackpot. All day she thought of how much she could gain from the chief if she successfully went to bed with him. It would be the biggest deal she had secured in almost 2 years. The next day, Enna sought out her trusted contacts to gather every detail about Chief Unu, when he would arrive, where he would stay, and his purpose in Akeo. Once she had the information, she began her preparations. During the day, Enna secluded herself, indulging in beauty rituals to perfect her appearance. In the evenings, when the sun was down, she took long walks to stay fit, met with her tailor to design stunning dresses, and quietly gathered more information about the chief. By the time Chief Unu arrived, Enna was ready. Her sources informed her that the chief had come to buy hectares of land to expand his business in Akko. In the evening, while he was inspecting the land, Enna made her way there and strategically waited for him. As he finished his inspection and was on his way out, Enna walked past him with her head held high. Nobody could convince her that she was not the most beautiful woman in the world. Chief Unu stopped in his tracks. He had seen beauty before, but this woman was a revelation. She swept him off his feet with her elegance. Immediately, he approached her. She reluctantly answered him, behaving as if she had not come there to see him. "Young maid," Chief Unu said, "I do not want to keep you out here for too long. Please, can I send my guards to bring you to my home? I would like to discuss something important with you." Enna glanced at the men surrounding him and noticed one of her contacts among them. Smiling inwardly, she decided to change her approach. Without a word, she walked away, knowing her contact would guide the chief back to her. She also knew this would only increase his longing for her. As expected, later in the evening, the chief visited her home with the help of Enna's contact. He sent her maid to call her, but Enna sent word back that she would not be able to come out as it was almost her bedtime. She added that if he was interested in seeing her, he should return the following morning. The chief felt insulted, but was too captivated by her to give up. The next morning, Chief Unu arrived at Enna's house promptly, as if she were the hectares of land he had come to buy. Enna knew she had him right where she wanted him. Briefly, the chief expressed himself, stating that he liked her and wanted to take care of her. Enna laughed and said, "Many men have offered, and I turned them down. What makes you so different from them?" The chief waved his hand as if expecting such a question, and immediately the guards he came with placed gifts of gold and pearls at her feet. Jubilating in her heart, Enna thought, I have not even gone to bed with him, and he has already enriched me. She asked the chief to come back at night, and of course, he did. That night, they lay together. For the entirety of the chief's stay, Enna spent her nights with him, and every day she received wonderful gifts. When he finally left, he promised to call her to be his companion when he traveled to other villages. But Enna did not care much about that. What he had already given her was more than she bargained for. As she watched the chief leave, she said to herself, "The game is mine to play, and I always win." But she was wrong this time. She had played a dangerous game. The chief had 3 terrible wives who had sworn to scare away any woman their husband showed interest in to protect their children's inheritance. When the chief returned home, one of his guards shared details of his escapades with Enna. The wives were furious, especially upon learning about the many gifts he had given her. This woman must be stopped. It might become something serious. We cannot afford to let our husband marry her, one of them said, and the others agreed. When Chief Unu traveled again for business, the wives gathered a group of strong men and journeyed to Ako, determined to confront Enna. Fate seemed to intervene. When they asked around about Enna, a woman informed them that she had seen her heading to the market square. This woman held a grudge against Enna because she had laid with her husband in the past. Sensing trouble, the woman happily led them. The women, guided by their grudge, led the strong men straight to Enna. As soon as the women saw her, they brought out long whips and began to flog her in the market square, calling her derogatory names. The strong men attacked anyone who dared to interfere, though not many people tried. Most of the villagers felt that Enna deserved what she was getting. When the women and their guards had finished, they left Enna lying in the mud, badly bruised. Enna cried for help, but nobody answered. The men avoided helping her, fearing issues with their wives. However, there was a young man named Uchi who had been standing at a distance, watching all that had happened. He had initially tried to intervene, but could not overthrow the strong men. When the coast was finally clear, Uchi went over to Enna, lifted her from the ground, and carried her home. When he finally placed her on her bed, with the help of her maid, Enna weakly said, "Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How can I ever repay you?" The man smiled, as if he had been waiting for that question his whole life, and responded, "Do not worry. I will lay with you when you are strong enough. Just get well soon." Then, immediately, he left. Uchi's intentions were not pure. He was just one of the many men who wanted but could not afford Enna. When he saw a chance, he grabbed it with arms wide open. For the first time, Enna began to weep. She realized how much she had ruined her reputation. She thought of her parents, how poor they had been, and remembered the promise she had made to herself to never live like them. But now, she could not help but wonder, was it all worth it? She had been publicly shamed in the market square and had lowered herself by being with many men just to have food on her table. In that moment, Enna promised herself to never return to that lifestyle. She decided to use all the money she had earned to make investments and live a comfortable life. Eventually, she let out a deep sigh and slowly drifted off to sleep. Weeks passed, and Enna's body healed, but she remained indoors, too ashamed to face everyone. One day, Chief Unu returned to visit her. When Enna heard from her maid that he had come, she sent word back saying she was not interested in seeing him. But the chief kept begging, saying that he had heard of her ordeal with his wives and had put measures in place to ensure it would not happen again. Enna hesitated. She thought about the promise she had made to herself, but soon discarded it. Her heart began to soften, and she let the chief in. The chief apologized again, expressing how much he had missed her. Then he said, "Marry me, Enna. I have not been able to stop thinking about you." Enna was not shocked by his proposal. She had heard similar offers from men before, but she was particularly intrigued by his offer. Or perhaps it came at the right time. Having chosen to forsake her old ways, she saw this as a new beginning. Now she could leave off his wealth for the rest of her life without ever worrying about money. She thought deeply about his offer, and just before he left, she accepted his proposal. Enna found a new sense of confidence. She began to strut around the village with some of the guards the chief had left for her safety. The villagers no longer had the audacity to speak recklessly to the great Chief Unu's future wife. Enna laughed in their faces, unprovoked, especially at those who had mocked her on the day she was beaten. "Were you really thinking Enna would be down forever?" she would say to them. "Never! I'm not like you, stuck in your hopelessness." Some of the villagers even began to question whether their righteous way of living profited them anything. One evening, Enna was waiting for Unu to arrive at her house, but he was unusually late. Just when she had given up hope of his arrival, the door flung open. It was not Chief Unu, it was his first wife, accompanied by the very guards the chief had left for Enna's protection. Enna immediately recognized her. Believing the guards were on her side, she charged at the woman, but the guards pushed her down. The first wife laughed at her naivety and handed her a gourd containing a strange liquid. "Do you know how I labored with this man you want to marry?" the woman said coldly. "We started this business from scratch. And what do I get in return? He chose to marry more wives, but not anymore." Enna was terrified. She was trapped with nowhere to go. She tried to delay, hoping that the chief would show up, but she was informed that he was held back by a business meeting. She begged for her life, but the guards remained loyal to the first wife. Realizing she had no hope of escape, Enna picked up the gourd and drank the substance slowly, knowing they would not let her leave alive. The first wife sat in satisfaction, watching as Enna clutched her stomach in pain. When Enna finally passed away, the woman stood up, glanced coldly at her lifeless body, and left the house. The moral lesson of this story: and what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your soul? Enna was short-sighted. She sought the pleasures of the world at any cost, forgetting that some things are too costly and not worth it. She squandered every opportunity for change, digging herself deeper into a pit until she ultimately lost her soul. In this journey of life, it is important to remember that every decision has consequences. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you did,